All right, Steeler fans, it is time for the second half of the Friday podcast. Every Friday, you know what that means. It's time for the All Bets Are Off segment with Jeremy Betz. What's up, Jeremy? How's it going?
Man, the title of this segment, the Steelers have been living by that recently, so let's talk about it.
All bets are off, indeed. And
Yeah,
I wanted to get your take on a couple things. Clearly, I haven't heard your take yet, on my show at least,
right.
about the trade that happened on Monday. So I'll give you the floor. What was your takeaway from the trade with Minka going to Miami, getting Jonnu Smith and Jalen Ramsey?
Yeah, I mean, the layers to the trade, obviously coming out as they did, like peeling back the layers of an onion, right? It was at first like, oh wow, we really are dialing in on defense, and it's not a wide receiver, so there's some concern about that. It's not an offensive playmaker. It's Jalen Ramsey. He's going to help the defense, but is that enough for this year? And then I got off slack because I was doing some work around the house, and all of a sudden I hop back in and I see that you're posting in there that it's Minka Fitzpatrick leaving, and then the third part of it, Jonnu Smith coming, and all of those different layers build into what basically was a shocker. Like I could not wrap my brain around the trade for the next couple or 3 hours after everything came to light. It was just that shocking of a development. And I mean, obviously, it's like a cornerstone piece of the franchise since 2019 and Minka Fitzpatrick that you're shipping off, and you're doing so for not younger players, older players. And, so I was just like, where is this coming from? But you sit back and you do the evaluation, and over the course of the last couple days now, I think that the Steelers won this trade. I think that they did a fantastic job assessing where they want to go on both defense and offense in 2025 and maybe beyond, depending on how these contracts play out for these guys. And you now have improved in two areas. And on the defensive side of the ball, the area where you did not improve, which is by sending out an all-pro or former all-pro safety, you actually improved at a position of greater value at corner. So I think that all evens out, and then I like the players that they got. So in all, I'm very excited about what this trade does for the Steelers.
All right. So my next question is that Omar Khan has had a plan.
Yeah.
And we were only privy to part of it. And we know about the 2026 draft and the plans there, and the accruing of conditional picks. I mean, they're compensatory picks, but they're conditional because we don't know where they're actually going to be just yet.
Yeah.
And then you start to see that there's a whole other layer to this plan. The plan is also, we're going to get proven veterans that can still play at a high level for this year. Like, they're only worried about 2025. And if it doesn't work out, they're off the hook with most of these guys.
Yeah.
It's not like they signed up to 2-3 year deals. A lot of these players are just 1 year deals. Darius Slay, 1 year deal. You could talk about a bunch of other players that were signed. Kenneth Gainwell is another one, 1 year deal. Aaron Rodgers, 1 year deal. Robert Woods, 1 year deal. So if it doesn't work out, it's like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. However, it's just so vastly different the way that we're used to things being done with the Steelers, that Art Rooney II is at least allowing him to think outside the box and to execute some of these ideas that he has. It's just so different. A lot of people don't know what to think. I think the plan has been genius. Whether it works out or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But for him to sit down and to say, I think that we have a way that we can win now and yet still plan for the future by drafting a quarterback, getting that taken care of. We're going to have a quarterback contract for the 4 to 5 years, hopefully. I don't know, Jeremy. What do you think about the way things are happening so far this offseason as we continue to press on to training camp?
I think it's really strange. You mentioned all the things about the plan, and what's strange to me is that it feels like across the league, whether it's Steelers fans or outside media pundits or whatever that are voicing opinions on this whole thing, it's almost like that the brain can't comprehend doing both at the same time. Winning, playing for now, trying to win now, and planning for the future. It's like teams don't do this. You have to take a 1 or 2 year hiatus from trying to compete in order to compete again. And the Steelers just are saying, well, that may be how you guys operate, but that's not how we're going to operate. That's not us. We're going to do things different. We're going to think outside the box on this. And I really do think that is how it's playing out. And they're walking a fine line between win now and prep for the future. And I think that it is working right now. And when you look at a guy like Jalen Ramsey, the option is there, right? If he plays well this year, you can keep him on the roster. You can adjust that contract next year, and you can keep him on the roster through 2027 or 2028 and have that be a player in your secondary that makes sense for you down the road. You can, Jonnu Smith, they extended him 1 year, right? So he's contracted through 2026. That gives you some flexibility there. And Arthur Smith loves those multi-tight end schemes. And now you've got options to do whatever you want to when you have multiple tight ends on the field. It just makes a lot of sense. And they've done it all without sacrificing or damaging their ability to go after the quarterback early next year. I do agree with you that it's been brilliant. We'll see if the execution the execution this season and into next year works. But for now, the setup has been pretty phenomenal, in my opinion.
Well, and in my opinion, the genius of it is the fact that, like you said, everyone's always said, this can't be done.
Right.
You can't win now and not jeopardize the future. And I said this on the Steelers preview Tuesday with Brian Davis. We flexed it into Tuesday because of the holiday schedule. And I always reference the LA Rams. What did the shirt say at the Super Bowl parade? F them picks, right?
Yeah.
They didn't care about the picks. You want Von Miller? We're sending a bunch of picks your way. We want Jalen Ramsey. Bunch of picks. Detroit won. We want Matthew Stafford. A bunch of picks. They didn't care about the future. The Steelers are, in a way, being very fortunate. Like getting Aaron Rodgers on a base contract, which upwards of 20, but still basically like a $10 million deal. That doesn't happen all the time. They've been very lucky in that regard. You get some other guys like Darius Slay for a 1 year, $10 million. They are saying, look, we're going to hedge our bets in 2025. And if it doesn't work out, we still have upwards of 12 draft picks in 2026 and the building of a nucleus of good young talent that's already being accrued. When you look at the offensive line, now the defensive line, they do have some good young players there. Damn it, Jeremy, it sounds like these guys are starting to figure it out, but can the plan work? That's the question.
Yeah, and I look at it too, even if you have some of these guys for just 1 year, the impact that a guy like Darius Slay can have on a Joey Porter Jr. could transcend his time on the roster. And the impact of, Jonnu Smith to this passing game and to the design of the offense to where Arthur Smith and Mike Tomlin, they see that it works, having multiple dynamic tight ends in the game plan. And maybe you replace them with somebody else down the road. That's fine. Impact from 1 year guys can go beyond this year as well when you think of it from that perspective. And then I also look at the fact that when you're combining the capital that they have for 2026 draft wise and then free agency wise, they're going to have the third most cap space projected right now in 2026. So they've got lots of ability to continue to mold and adjust this roster. And even though we've kind of seen them do it on a year-by-year basis, while they don't have the future at quarterback in the building, I think that you'll start to see that settle down to a degree next year, where they're adding in big names on free agency that maybe are a little younger because they can afford those guys, and they're attacking through the draft with a bevy of picks and adding that quarterback early to try to build something for the future as a collective, which is how they've always wanted to do things as an organization.
And they're banking on that rookie quarterback contract, whether it's Will Howard in year 2 or whether it's a rookie in 2026. I would assume it's both. And that's why they're able to look at, hey, we'll give TJ Watt a big deal because we're going to have the flexibility. The cap's going to continue to go up. Yeah. We won't have to pay a quarterback right away. By the time we have to pay that quarterback big money, he's going to be gone anyways. Yeah. So I want to ask you a question. I talked about this a lot in the first half of the podcast. And it's a question a lot of Steeler fans have been trying to wrap their brain around. Has this offseason been a sense of urgency, meaning we want to get these guys a good, legitimate chance at a Super Bowl, or has this been desperation? We're desperately swinging for the fences. Like, we're just trying whatever we can. Some might say it's a fine line between the two. What do you think?
I don't don't sense any desperation here. I think that this is calculated and well thought out. I sit back and I look at the Omar Khan experience, and even like the year before he was really given the reins, he was kind of being prepped for it, right? You saw him a little bit more out front, inside the draft room in the draft process when the Steelers selected Kenny Pickett, and I didn't even think that was a move of desperation. I just thought that they had a guy fall into their laps and they were like, okay, let's take him. Let's see what happens here. Maybe we've struck gold. And they didn't have a quarterback at that point other than Mitch Trubisky on the roster. So I haven't sensed really any desperation from this group. I know there's been some criticism, even from guys in the league, other general managers. There's that critique that from an anonymous source, general manager in the league, that it feels like that they're just swapping out chairs on the Titanic. I don't get that sensation. I think that this team is building towards something else. I just don't think that it's a common thought process, like we've been talking about. The theme of the show so far is that people don't think that they can win now and plan for the future at the same time. And that's why this organization has been sturdy and others have fallen to pieces. So I don't know how it all plays out, but right now I like the plan.
All right. Very good. All right. So I want to ask you, before we call it a segment here, a lot of people are so focused on Jalen Ramsey, and rightfully so. This guy has quite the resume, very similar to Minkah Fitzpatrick in terms of all pros and Pro Bowl nods and stuff like that. I think Jonnu Smith might be a really valuable piece of this trade. And we talked about him when there were rumors going around that they might be acquiring him. And a lot of people were saying, they're not going to get him. Well, here he is, part of the team now. Tell me why this might be an underrated big win, chalk the W up for the Steelers offense this year.
Well, first of all, Aaron Rodgers I think the stat was in the last 3 seasons that he's played a full season, that his EPA per play has been almost double what it was with multiple tight ends on the field. So he's better when there are multiple tight ends on the field. He's able to make quicker decisions. He's able to read out those defenses better for whatever reason that is. He's just better in those types of situations. The other thing is that Jonnu Smith coming in gives you layups on every play. He's a guy who can take something at the line of scrimmage and take it multiple yards. I mean, he's a first down type player from the line of scrimmage on over the middle routes. He's a chain mover. He just kind of gives you some layups in this offense, and maybe even some big plays if he can get the ball in his hands with some blockers in front or make the first guy miss. So there's a real world where he helps them, and he's a completely different tight end than Pat Freiermuth. He helps them in a way that they don't have anybody else on the roster to help them in those areas. So I just think that when you look at his play style and the type of player he is and the way that Arthur Smith will use him, that he's going to kind of be that dump off guy, that yak guy that they haven't had in this offense for several years now.
I think that he and Freiermuth are going to really play off each other well, too. And
yes.
You look at their stat lines from last year, very similar. Jonnu Smith had more receptions and more yards, but touchdowns are very similar. I think those two guys on the field together create some serious mismatches for the opposition when it comes to who's going to cover him. A safety, a linebacker. If it's a linebacker, that's an advantage to the offense. If it's a safety, well, now all of a sudden you got someone that's going to be single covered on the outside, and that's going to be exciting to see what they do. Like DK Metcalf, it's going to be fun. I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Absolutely.
But I want to give you a chance to plug what you got going on the website as well as on the podcast side.
Yeah, I had my notebook drop a couple days ago that you can go check out, where I just kind of threw out some of my thoughts from the month of June. I'm going to try to do that fairly regularly, just league-wide thoughts that are interesting to me and interesting, hopefully, to the public at large as well. And then check out my continued series on the Steelers, position by position, best and worst case scenarios. Those are going to keep coming. And check out all the podcasts, Draft Dynasty Podcast, the Steelers Fix, and the Q&A. We're rolling with it throughout the offseason. Stay with us.
All right. Awesome. Jeremy, hope you have a great 4th of July. Stay safe. Don't blow your hand off or anything like that.
I don't do the firework thing. I go see them, but I don't do them. Sparklers is it for the 4-year-olds. So.
That is smart. That is smart. Yeah. Good job. Hey, thanks for your time, man. We'll talk next week. Take it easy.
Have a good one, Jeff.